Well, this is Campfire Football mixing up with the soccer subs. I got a deep crew on today. This is good. We're going to get all kinds of opinions. And I'm just going to say this, call it out from the very beginning. I think any neutral who was able to see France turn it on for 20 minutes is probably a little disappointed that that group of players is no longer in the competition to continue to offer us that level of spectacle, because I personally don't think any other team has shown that they can do that. But you got to play the whole 90 minutes, right? So if you don't do that, you lose. Guys, I have 5 questions I want to go through. I mentioned them to you already. Let's get into them. The first one, why did France lose? Why did Switzerland win? Cayo, let's start with you.
When I saw him step up for the penalty, I was like, it's going to go France's way, for sure. Football is cruel. It's beautiful, but it's cruel at the same time. Hugo Lloris goes and makes that save, and I think that at that moment, I think France got too much of themselves, that they went on and scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. And for me, I was like, it's game over. But like you said earlier, football is a game of 90 minutes, not to the 79th.
At this point in the tournament, France were their biggest enemies. They're their own enemy. I think prior to the tournament starting, not a single person didn't have France as a finalist in their bracket. And they're just such a talented squad who clearly didn't have, to put it into lack of better words, just a sense of unity amongst that team. And you could clearly see that with the whole drama coming afterwards, with the whole Rabiot situation, with the whole Mbappe situation, with the whole Pogba situation, all that nonsense going on in the stands. This team clearly lacks unity. And Switzerland, on the other hand, they played as a team. They played as a collective. They didn't give up. Most teams, you're down 3-1 to such a star-studded squad like France, you're going to give up. Most teams, but not these collective players. They played as a team, they played as a unit, and they got that win. They went down to penalties, and it came down to that's a beautiful game for you. It came down to the very last penalty. Mbappe, as talented as you are, you were humbled. You were humbled.
France has been grossly inconsistent and have lacked leaders both on the pitch and I think on the sideline, because Deschamps, I think, is a little bit inept when it comes to trying to figure out how he wants to position his best players and try to get the best out of them. And to be quite honest, I think Cayo had a very solid point when he said that Rodriguez's penalty had to have been that turning point of the game. And personally speaking, I had seen Rodriguez miss a pen against the USA in a friendly before the start of the tournament. So it's like in the back of my head, I knew something was like up. I sniffed not a comeback, but I just thought he'd whiff it. I wasn't expecting 3 goals, 2 goals in 3 minutes. Sorry.
Did France lose this game, to themselves, or did Switzerland take that game? And I really got to go with France probably lost themselves the game, because they were obviously up 3-1. I'm not sure, like what Cayo said, I'm not sure if they just got too full of themselves. I know that Pogba goal was a banger, but I don't know, man. If I put it on paper, I mean, this team is probably one of the best teams. It is probably the best team in the world on paper. Benzema, Mbappe, the whole lineup is the whole roster is a lineup. But I really think, man, they just shot themselves in the foot.
Basically, number 14 for Switzerland. That's the reason why they lost. First of all, he's the one that created the assist, so that number 9 can score that header. I feel so bad for Lenglet because he looked really bad on that play. And then for the penalty, he's the one that made the run and created it. I gotta be honest, I've never seen that guy play, but I will want him on my team.
Right? Is
yes,
that Zuber?
Steven Zuber.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And collectively, I think France was just, I think they were hoping Switzerland was gonna bunker, but they didn't, and they took the game to them. And I think you need that tenacity to play these games. And here's the reason why I think France lost. I don't know if it has to do much with the formation, but Rabiot looked lost in the last 2 goals. First of all, with Kimpembe, and the third one, he's like yelling at him after the goal, because Kimpembe is trying to cover Rabiot's guy and then leaving the middle wide open for number 19 to score the goal. So I think I'm not sure if I think everybody has some fault in this game, but you can't fall asleep in 3-1.
Here's the big question. You guys we talked before. You guys have heard me as a Chelsea fan wax lyrical about one player, N'Golo Kante. Where has he been this tournament? I'll tell you where I think he's been. He's been told to sit in a midfield that waits. he plays for teams that go and hunt the ball. And so when you play a ball into the midfield and it's this little bit loose, he's there. But they didn't play to his strengths. And then apparently Pogba, this is something that came out in the French media. Apparently Pogba was really asking, he was saying, we want to push for the fourth goal. We want to go and bury this team. And Deschamps was like, drop in. So some little, it's a little foreshadowing for how that might go. Put your French media cap on. You work for the French media. You got the badge. You're sat down on TV and they tell you, come up with a scapegoat. You need to come up with, who do you think is responsible for this loss?
Look, it's funny. I've talked about this with Christian multiple times. It's without a doubt, in my personal opinion, Didier Deschamps, without a doubt. It's just, it's been mind-boggling, some of the decisions he's made. You know, prior to the start of the Euros, you add this late introduction to Karim Benzema, who's at first, I'm excited. I was excited. You know, I'm a Madrid fan. I love to see, you know, Benzema perform. I love to see him play. But to add him so late into the roster, like, I was a bit curious. But I'm okay. Let me give it a chance. Then at the start of the tournament, you know, yes, they got the win away with Germany, but it was really a stagnant win. And you play against Hungary, you tie against Hungary. Against Switzerland, yes, you were missing fullbacks in Lucas Hernandez and Lucas Digne, but you should prepare for scenarios like that. He brought in Lenglet at a 3-man back formation, who was clearly so uncomfortable. He played Pavard as a wide fullback, who was just getting decimated by Zubel. It was just so many things that went wrong. Griezmann, who's probably one of the hardest working players on that pitch that day, he subbed him off for who? Sissoko? When you can easily take out who? You can take out Mbappe, who was, I'm sorry, Mbappe. Look, I love the player, but he was having a stinker. Come on.
Yeah.
He was just missing so many chances. Look, a lot of things went wrong. Some plays go down to the players, but I think the Champs, I don't know. Zidane is in the market. That's all I have to say.
But one thing that caught my eye after it was people were blaming Mbappe for the loss of him losing the pen, and for like a dumb reason. For me, it surprised me. I remember one of my buds, who's a big France fan too, said that the main reason why Mbappe lost that pen was because of Neymar. Neymar, who he's been playing with all this season, hasn't been having the best like leader for Mbappe. They're saying that he's like, his attitudes, Mbappe's copying it. You know, his apparently Mbappe did miss a few shots. Apparently he flopped a few times. But I don't think that's, you know, Mbappe is the one to blame for. He missed the pen. And but for a player like Mbappe, he's like 21. He could grow. He needs this to grow. You see Ronaldo back in the last his first Euros when he lost with Portugal, and I think it's there's always room for improvement.
I love the Brazilian perspective there, Cayo. That's brilliant. That's great. Christian, what do you think?
I think Eric is being too harsh on the shot, because that was pretty ballsy for him to take out a center back and put Coleman in, and it worked for him. So I think, you know, bringing the whole game back, it just comes to defending and being they're missing a leader. Kimpembe could he be the leader? I'm not sure, because that's one of the reasons why they let Swiss score those 2 last goals. So, you know, I think that in general, as a team, they need to look at themselves in the mirror and see, who can I rely on? Pogba, I love him. He could be a leader, but you're dancing on your goal, and for me, that's disrespectful. Carles Puyol, you've seen this video, I'm pretty sure, where he picks up the players. You see that the players are dancing. Hey, let's go back in the game where we still haven't won it. You gotta be on it. Those are you don't want those type of leadership. You want someone who said, I like that I didn't know that Pogba was saying, hey, let's press for more. Yeah, we need to see more of that. Unfortunately, the only thing that we saw on TV was just, you know, practicing his new dance move. So,
Vas, what do you think?
A lot of you guys had to point the finger to the Shams, which I'll have to do the same, because the team's biggest strength just so happens to be their biggest weakness, which is individual quality. And it takes a lot to lose with that amount of quality players from the roster, from top to bottom, from the goalies to the midfielders. It takes something special, and not in a good way, like I said, initially I was thinking Mbappe, but Deschamps just got it all wrong, man. Like he had a Rabiot, I think, playing as a left wing back. Like his heat map, I think, just showed that he was not defending
He wasn't
at all. Yeah, he was not
He
defending. And it's just insane that we had a huge lead just blown off of you could see it on the field. I don't know. It was like the players are just picking at each other. And after the game, we saw the media just expose that there's just been bickering within the squad, people pointing fingers. And that comes from a lack of leadership. And that all starts from your head coach. If he can't control the team, everyone's going to do whatever they want.
I'm pretty quick on this one, man. I mean, I'm gonna definitely echo, poor management on Deschamps, just because on the Hungary game and the Portugal game, he had 4 in the back, and now he switches it up to 3 in the back against Switzerland. I'm not sure if he underestimated Switzerland in that kind of a sense, but I'm also probably just gonna throw in the defense in there, man. I mean, Varane, Lenglet, and Kimpembe, I think the better out of the 3, but that first goal was pretty much Lenglet got caught ball watching right there, and the goal in the 81st minute, the striker beat, or the guy who scored the goal beat Varane. So I think it was his poor defending in the second half as well. And I really just think, going back to management again, going back to Deschamps, I think he really just underestimated the opponent. I think maybe after that the 3-1 lead, I think they got too comfortable. Again, going back to unity as a team, but obviously it all goes back to the manager, and so I'm going to go with Deschamps and defending.
In a press conference, Didier Deschamps recently was saying, it's really interesting. There's teams at this tournament that they're hard to analyze because when they have the ball, they take up one formation, and when they don't, they switch to a different one. All 3 goals come from a giant lack of pressure. The penalty, the run that Zuber goes on, guys, any of you been a defender or a midfielder? What he was allowed to do there, I could throw 4 different players under the bus and be like, you, and you didn't do your job. You let him run away. You let him face forward. Pogba's trying to cut off a pass backwards instead of pressuring the guy. He goes, oh, okay, cool. I'll just go that way. Granit Xhaka's getting the ball at the bottom of the center circle, and he looks up, and Pogba and Kante are told to back away from him. So now you've got Granit Xhaka looking like a Swiss Leo Messi, just pinging balls.
Yeah.
And it was amazing the amount of problems that caused. And so for me, it has to be Didier Deschamps. What was your favorite moment emotionally of the match? Not just, oh yeah, I enjoyed that, but what really got you as a football fan just really, really jazzed up for this?
All right. For me, I gotta go with the Pogba banger, man. To me, it was just a beautiful ball. And to me, that was the moment of game over. But boy, was I wrong. As a football fan, I mean, it was one to watch. It's one for the books, and that's what makes this game. That's what makes the game a beautiful game. On a side note, just seeing Benzema, back in the national team after 5 years is unbelievable. So just seeing him score those goals as well. But the Pogba banger to me is top notch. So.
I think that Pogba banger is literally what us football fans live for. It's makes you sound like a weirdo. You make one of those noises whoa, it was a goal, But I would have to say, as a simple man, I think the Haris Seferovic opener, that header, was just capping off a great run of play, from the passing to the run into the goal. And it looks like a simple finish, but takes a lot to jump over World Cup winner Varna and connect to beat another World Cup winner in Lloris. It was impressive, even though it was simple. I really like that opener. I'm a sucker for a nice left-footed cross. And Zubar was phenomenal, as Christian had mentioned before. He was player of the match in my opinion.
There are too many to choose from, but I think what describes most is that Sissoko cross and Coleman hitting the post in the last second of the game. That sums it up. That tells me okay, France is just probably not gonna win today. Yeah, it was a roller coaster game. I think if they would have played like they played in the last minute, they probably would. We wouldn't even be talking about a Switzerland quarterfinal match.
So I remember watching the game and my dad coming down. He's like, "What is that player drinking Coke in the middle of the hurdle?" And it was Granit Xhaka. And luckily we could say right now, there's only one team making money off of that, and it's Arsenal. That usually puts 20 million on him to be in the center of the circle. Usually you don't see a captain in the center of a circle talking like how he did. He wasn't talking, he was yelling to them. And if I understood Swiss, I think if I would probably know what he was saying, that we made it this far and they're gonna win it. But what he did in that game, from passing the ball in the midfield and just being that leader right before the pens, drinking a Coke, I don't know if it was for the meme or not, but that was the moment.
Oh man, I mean, it's hard to narrow it down. I'd say two of them. One was the penalty that Switzerland earned, that Ricardo Rodriguez obviously failed, but just the build up to get that penalty, you clearly saw the issues going on defensively with France. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, listen, France are just awful defensively. Even if they manage to win this tie, they're going to struggle against whoever they face next. Secondly, believe it or not, Mbappe missing, because the first thing, the goalkeeper didn't celebrate. He paused because honestly, from my perspective, it looked like he moved off the line and my heart dropped. I'm like, no, don't tell me they're going to retake the penalty. As a football fan, I was terrified. I'm like, no, please, no. But then as soon as they started celebrating, oh man, a sigh of relief. I was happy. You love seeing underdogs win, man.
And actually, I'm glad you bring that up. Give Summer the presence of mind to be like, guys, don't celebrate yet. Wait. Okay, it's all good. We're good. Let's go to the fans. Woo! And then, that was excellent. Who should be the leader of this team?
I'm thinking of a French captain at the moment, and I see a lot of quiet players. I don't see Varane one. He's very soft-spoken. I wish I could see an N'Golo Kante be captain this team, but he's also very soft-spoken. A lot of these players are. Mbappe, I think, is far too young. In my opinion, it's between these three players. Karim Benzema, who's also a bit soft-spoken, but I can see it. Antoine Griezmann or Paul Pogba. Out of the three, I favor Paul Pogba, but obviously he does need to be a bit more mature to captain this side.
You don't need to have the most skilled managers in the world to get good results. You can look at anyone from Croatia's manager being a nobody and coaching in Qatar, I believe. He was like an Al Ali manager. He was there for several years before he took the job for Croatia and made a World Cup final. So I think getting rid of the Shams is the biggest thing, that the first thing you have to do, because there's no excuse. There is no excuse behind you losing a tournament as a World Cup defender with a squad as talented as you were given. I think Pogba should be the captain. He had a big money move. Maybe wasn't the most successful. He's always on the verge. Every transfer window, he's going to leave, he's going to stay. No one really knows. But I think for the French team, he's always performed. And that one little bit of information that I think Sebastian had touched on when they had gotten the third goal and he was trying to press up, that shows leadership. Like, more of that will be phenomenal from him.
Look, Deschamps at the end of the game, he said that, hey, it's just part of the game. It's football. They lost the game. It happens to everyone. So I don't think we can be so dramatic, because they are the current World Cup champions. Deschamps, I'm not sure if the media is hyping this problem up in regards to team management. If it is, then it probably might be a better idea to bring in somebody who can manage these egos. Then, in regards to like offensive power, they have it. We obviously saw that combination plays between elite players who know how to combine inside the box, outside the box. They have it. Offensively, they're great. Midfield, like you said, Kante was the reason why they scored that first goal. He's the one that won the second ball and find a way to find Mbappe and then to Benzema. So I think France is still a top contender. Maybe some pieces, and especially the team management, that has to change. I'm not sure if it's going to be with the Champs, but if it is with Zidane, Zidane has proven that he can do that as well.
This France team is built on some amazing talent, superstars, and like Christian just mentioned, egos. And I just don't know if Deschamps has a good grasp on his players. So I really would think a change in manager would probably be my best course of action, in my opinion. And Sebastian, just to answer your question also on the Rabiot's mom, I didn't even know that his mom was his agent. So that was interesting to me. But also, man, I think that's a distraction, man, you don't want as well. I mean, you know, what happens off the field is just as important as what happens on the field. You don't want that kind of baggage. I don't know what the answer might be there. But I feel like, Sebastian, there's a lot of distractions on this team. You know, there was, like I mentioned earlier, there was some locker room drama. I'm not sure what you're rude or anything. But again, I think it comes to management having a good grasp on the situations coming out of the locker room. And I don't know if Deschamps is just too much of a nice guy. Maybe he tries to take everyone's side. But I don't know. I think for me, a change in management might be not a bad course of action, and probably try to get Zidane.
Well, so guys, I'm gonna agree with anyone that said replace the coach, and not because this is Didier Deschamps. This is a French hero. Like, he is the captain of the '98 and 2000 team that won both those. He is the guy that brought the World Cup back. Like, he is. I think. Like, I have nothing bad to say about him and what he has accomplished. But what I look at is Fernando Santos wins the Euros in 2016 with Portugal. They've been average since. Yugi Love, what? After you crash out of the 2018 World Cup, how does that guy keep his job? I don't know, right? It starts to get stale. So there's these managers who win a big title, and they don't really want to leave because they're international managers managing their own national team. These guys are not guys who are like, yeah, no, I'll go and take the Rwanda job and test myself. These are guys who are very comfortable where they are. And the only way to rejuvenate the team, in my opinion, is to replace them because they have had their peak. I don't think France win the World Cup with Deschamps in charge next year. Not because he'll screw the whole thing up, but because, and this is, I think, a very interesting point. Because Eric wrote this in our chat box here. He wrote Bambi, Mendy, Mignon, Theo Hernandez, Fofana, Upamecano, Aouar. So many fresh players to bring and try. And here's the thing is, you have players like that you could bring. And Clément Lenglet, who had a very average season at Barcelona, is chosen in a back three over Kurt. I play in a back three Zuma. And Kurt Zuma, do you think he gets beat by Seferovic for that header on the first goal? I don't think so. Now that the favorites are out, I want everyone in one word, pick your Euro 2020/Euro 2021 winner. All right, Eric, start with you.
Belgium.
Cayo.
England.
Christian.
It's coming home.
Vas.
Italia.
Ooh. And Ronnie?
Italy.
All right. I'm going to be a total contrarian and hipster here and say Denmark. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It's a Denmark. I mean, we're going.
That'd be beautiful.
It's a 92 replay. We're going 20. We're going 19 years back. It's Schmeichel. The Schmeichels double up. I'm telling you, this is the story. Christian Eriksen in the 48th minute goes down cardiac arrest. The team heartbeat of the tournament. They come and win it. I mean, you can see all the headlines, can't you? You can see the stories and everything. It's just got that
It's a beautiful
perfect
story,
gloss,
man.
doesn't it?
Yeah, beautiful fairy tale.
This is a terrific podcast. You guys have done an amazing job ever since I started. I've been following you guys, the names you guys pull in, the people you talk to, but most importantly, and this is the key, you guys ask very quality questions to guests. You guys don't just ask fluff. You guys really get into the things that anyone would want to hear, whether you're a coach, a fan, or just anything. Soccer Subs, you guys are absolutely one of my favorite soccer podcasts, no question. And the new faces, Vas and Cayo. Nice to meet you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Cayo, Vas.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Just introduce your Soccer Subs podcast.
Hey, thank you guys for the support. Sebastian, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you having us on your show. And vice versa, man. Yeah, check us out on Soccer Subs podcast on Instagram. And
No, I mean, it's always a pleasure to hear Sebastian. I mean, more than anything, I think Eric said something earlier on the day. It's like, yo, I think you want to be in Campfire Football. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I would. No, but I do, I do love your shows. Every single episode is just so good.
But that's the most fun part. I'd rather run in the muck with people like you guys, with getting involved and talking about football and saying our opinions and feeling it. And this Euro has been exceptionally special in so many ways. I think we can all be so happy to have been able to essentially cover it, and we've decided to cover it, all of us, and on to the quarterfinals. Thank you to Eric, Cayo, Vas, Ronnie, and Christian from Soccer Subs Podcast. Have a lovely night. This is Campfire Football.